There's a popular meme describing this fight between Luke and Kylo. It says, he used the Force for defense, he never attacked Kylo. He defended the Resistance in a way that was completely non-violent and peaceful, and that is the closest thing any Jedi except Obi-Wan ever came to Yoda's teachings.
A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack.
But if you look at the history of the Jedi, you'll quickly see that this lesson of Yoda's isn't actually true, and that there isn't anything remotely pacifist about the Jedi Order. Let's examine the history of the Jedi, try to figure out what Yoda might have meant, and discuss what attack and defense actually mean. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this meme, I absolutely loved it. The idea that Luke learned the lesson that Yoda was trying to teach him about using the Force for knowledge and defense, so he held off an entire army without needing to land a single blow? That's amazing, that's inspiring. That's the exact realization of the fear the Neimoidians showed when we're first introduced to the Jedi in Episode 1.
Have you ever encountered a Jedi Knight before, sir? We will not survive these.
And as awe-inspiring as the old Jedi were, how much more amazing is it to know that the Jedi don't have to actually be there? That Luke held back an entire army without even being able to contact the physical world. But the more I thought about this meme, the more of a problem I had with it. And the problem I have is that Luke is being celebrated by the fans for being a pacifist. But if you analyze every battle scene, you'll quickly see that the Jedi are by no means pacifists. In fact, they'll very frequently draw their weapon before their opponent. Because the Jedi exist for one reason: to fulfill the will of the Force by fighting evil in all its forms. Now, granted, the Jedi had allowed themselves to become too bound up by the laws of the Republic, so they were no longer truly fulfilling the will of the Force. But my main point stands. The Jedi were never pacifist monks who locked themselves away to meditate, trying to reach enlightenment. The Jedi are peacekeepers, negotiators, but when need be, they are fully trained and capable warriors. Saying Luke is a true Jedi in this scene because he was non-violent is just as backwards as this scene with Rey, when Snoke says that she has the spirit of a true Jedi because she's being violent.
You have the spirit of a true Jedi!
Now, yes, Snoke is evil, so to him, maybe violence and anger are virtues. Maybe to him, a quote-unquote true Jedi is someone who is able to embrace those aspects of the dark side. But the entire theme of this movie is that the Jedi need to end.
So it is time for the Jedi Order to end.
Or at the very least, they need to evolve to be something new.
At the height of their powers, they allowed Darth Sidious to rise, create the Empire, and wipe them out.
So Snoke boldly declaring her show of anger and violence is that of a true Jedi is tantamount to the filmmakers saying this is what we want the Jedi to become. They're no longer peaceful, expressionless fighters. They can have passion and show emotion while not letting their anger control them. So which definition is correct? Is this meme wrong, or is the new definition of Jedi wrong? They can't both be right. One says true Jedi are pacifists, the other says you just tried to kill an unarmed person, now that's a true Jedi. So, given the context of the entire film, the most logical conclusion is that Rey is the true Jedi. She is embracing her emotions while not allowing them to control her, which actually is perfectly in line with how the Legends novels had Luke reform his new Jedi Order. He believed that the Jedi forbidding personal attachments and relationships and trying to be emotionless droids instead of thinking, feeling beings was the reason the old Jedi Order fell. Additionally, looking at the past, Luke never refused to fight. He never had a problem taking a life. And for that matter, neither did Yoda. I mean, Yoda even preemptively beheaded 2 men who hadn't attacked him yet. Now, an obvious counter-argument is that not only do we have Yoda teaching non-violence, we also have Luke himself throwing down his weapon and refusing to fight, so this must be the way of the Jedi, right? But Luke threw away his lightsaber, not because he was refusing to fight. He threw it away because he was refusing to fight out of anger. The Jedi are not forbidden to fight or to kill. They are forbidden to do either out of anger, because that is the path to the dark side. Luke threw his saber away because he didn't need it. He had defeated Vader, and the Emperor was an unarmed, withered old man without a weapon. If the Emperor had been holding a blaster, or Luke had ever seen Force lightning, he likely would have kept his lightsaber. But in this moment, throwing it away was a gesture of defiance against evil. And note, this wasn't a gesture that he made for Palpatine's benefit. This was done for himself. Declaring your intentions is usually proof enough for others. As a general rule, people are hardwired to believe what you tell them at face value. You'll pick up milk after work? I believe you. You'll finish the project by Friday? Great, I believe you, I'll tell the client. But most often, when your word proves worthless, it's because you didn't take a physical action to reinforce to yourself the commitment that you were making. You said you'd get milk, but you didn't write a note so you'd remember. You promised to have the project done by Friday, and you didn't even take the first step to begin it. Acting on your intentions is how you truly prove things to yourself. If you forget your wife's anniversary and look her in the eye and tell her you'll never do it again, she'll probably believe you. And you'll likely move on with your life and forget next year too, because you didn't take a physical action to reinforce mentally that you truly meant what you said. Pull out your phone and add your anniversary to your calendar and set a notification. That's the equivalent of Luke throwing his saber, taking a physical action that proves to yourself you will do what you said you will do.
Never. I'll never turn to the dark side. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
And something else important to note here. Luke could easily have thrown his saber over the edge of the chasm, just like his future self does, indicating a true decision to no longer fight. But that sends a different message, and by throwing it forward, still within easy reach, the filmmakers gave us the subconscious message that the option to fight was still available if he needed it. Now, this discussion has actually led us to a couple interesting points. If the Jedi aren't supposed to be pacifists, then what exactly did Yoda mean?
Never attack.
What does using the Force for defense actually mean? If I'm trying to launch a nuke and kill everyone, and you shoot me before I push the button, were you attacking me, or were you defending the world? When Han shot Beckett, was it cold-blooded murder, or a first strike made in self-defense? When Dooku begins throwing stuff at Yoda, is he attacking, or is he using a preemptive strike and defending both himself and the separatist cause that he deeply believes in? It quickly becomes obvious that the definitions of defense and attack are actually quite subjective. Who is attacking and who is defending isn't actually related to the physical action, it's the intention behind that action. The most logical explanation for Yoda's words is that we need to focus on that intent. Are you using the Force out of malice or out of a desire to protect? And notice this entire discussion is only about the Force. Yoda didn't ever tell Luke not to pick up a sword and fight. This line specifically is about how one should use the Force, about what kind of mental state you need to be in, one of peaceful mindfulness, not one of aggression. And yes, a possible counterpoint, maybe Yoda was rethinking a lifetime of Jedi training and had concluded the old Jedi Order was too aggressive. Maybe Yoda wanted to train Luke to be a pacifist monk who truly did meditate all day and never stand up and fight. And this explanation is even more credible once you realize Yoda never had Luke train with his lightsaber. He did absolutely no battle training, only training to properly use the Force. But more importantly, if true, is this the right reaction? Does passive protest really work against an evil enemy who is happily willing to kill? Story after story throughout history proves that peaceful protest can never defeat an enemy intent on violence. So yes, it's possible to argue that Yoda changed his mind and now believed the Jedi should be more pacifist than in the past, but if so, he was dead wrong. And regardless of speculation at what the line was supposed to mean, it's obviously incorrect to interpret it as a literal command to only defend, never attack. Yoda walked into the Chancellor's office intending to kill him. Yoda, Grand Jedi Master, went to assassinate a democratically elected leader who at this point has nearly unanimous support from the entire galaxy.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
And this is exactly the right call. This was exactly the will of the Force. Yoda was doing exactly what he was supposed to do. He and Obi-Wan had to make a last desperate attempt to prevent this evil man from completely consolidating his power. By attacking, they were actually defending. And they were doing it with pure hearts, not letting anger and pain cloud their judgment. That was the meaning of Yoda's words. And not just Yoda, look at real-world comparisons. There are several variations of the student oath in Taekwondo, but they all basically say to utilize self-control, only using what you learn to defend yourself or to defend others. But that doesn't literally mean that you can only block after someone tries to hit you. They don't teach you knife hand strikes and roundhouse kicks and then forbid you to ever use them, because the student oath says only use this for defense. They mean don't attack out of anger, don't attack out of a lust for power, don't attack out of pride. But that doesn't mean you should be a pacifist and not fight, or even kill when necessary for good to triumph.
I will do what I must.
Ironically, while we have just proven that fighting is needed, Star Wars actually has a subtle running theme that fighting rarely works. The whole point of the Clone Wars is that it was pointless. All the fighting meant nothing. Whichever side won, Palpatine was going to get his galactic empire. Then look at all of the other battles. Qui-Gon fighting Maul didn't work, Obi fighting Maul didn't work, the Gungans fighting didn't work. The Queen's troops capturing Viceroy didn't work, the attack on the droid control ship didn't work, the Jedi fighting in the arena didn't work, Obi fighting Dooku didn't work, Anakin fighting Dooku didn't work, Yoda fighting Dooku didn't work, Obi fighting Vader and Ford didn't work, them fighting their way off the Death Star was a trap the whole time, the Rebels holding off the landing party in 5 didn't work, Luke fighting Vader in 5 didn't work, the attack on Endor didn't work, Luke fighting Vader in 6 didn't work how he wanted it to.
I will not fight you, Father.
Finn fighting Kylo didn't work, Rey fighting Kylo didn't work, Kylo fighting Luke didn't work. In almost every fight we see, the end outcome of fights are usually either neutral or bad for the protagonists, and frequently when they do manage to win, the only thing that saves them is the Force. It seems to be a running theme that fighting is useless unless you have the will of the Force on your side. So, how does this revelation tie in with our main discussion? If fighting never works except when the Force wills it, doesn't that support the meme's argument that passive defense is the true way of the Jedi? And if the Force wants you to win, then you will. Well, I think if we look closer, we'll see a second meaning in these examples. You absolutely must stand up and fight against evil, even if you are destined to lose. Given how he appeared exhausted after his first fight with Maul, it's very likely Qui-Gon knew he was going to die. Yet he fought anyway, for the fate of Anakin, the Jedi, and the Republic. The odds of any pilot landing this shot to blow up the Death Star were astronomical, but they fought anyways. Anakin and Obi-Wan had zero chance of defeating one of the best duelists the Jedi Order had ever produced, yet they fought anyway. The Rebels had almost no chance of surviving the assault on Scarif, yet they fought anyway. Yes, Star Wars absolutely has a running theme that fighting is futile, but the point is that we must fight anyway. Good must not just passively block evil from advancing, evil must be forcibly driven back until it runs or dies. And this is not something that can be accomplished through nonviolence. And as the final point, where did this entire discussion come from? This is important, think about it. This meme wasn't made by someone who hated the scene trying to show why it sucked. This meme was made by someone who liked the scene trying to show why it was good. But why? Did you need a meme to explain to you why this was an amazing scene?
Luke, help me take this mask off.
But you'll die.
Nothing can stop that now. Just for once, let me look on you with my own eyes.
I've never had to defend why this is an amazing scene.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them! Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness!
So why did we need this intriguing, but ultimately incorrect, explanation for people to truly appreciate this scene? Maybe some people honestly like this headcanon. Maybe they like Jedi being monks who act like Loki, using the Force to trick and deceive and refusing to fight. Maybe some people so aggressively defend it because they're secretly sad that this 10-minute clip is the only time we'll see Luke's true potential on screen. If this is all we will ever see of Jedi Master Skywalker, then it must be amazing. It would be too heartbreaking otherwise. Maybe they defend it so they don't have to acknowledge that Luke died for nothing. Kylo is even more dangerous than before. Now his master has taunted him, tricked him, and humiliated him in front of all his subordinates.
See you around, kid.
The First Order can still track them down from any remaining ship. Nobody in the entire galaxy cares about Leia or the Resistance.
They've heard us, but no one's coming.
And even if this standoff initially inspired billions who didn't care before, Luke still died at the end. The legendary hero of the Imperial War was effectively killed by the First Order from half a galaxy away. It doesn't matter how inspiring he was, why would anyone be brave enough to stand up and fight now, knowing the First Order was powerful enough to kill Luke Skywalker? Now, I must acknowledge that I do love parts of this scene. Luke moves with the speed and grace I had always wanted to see Force users utilize in battle. From a visual standpoint, this scene is amazingly iconic, and both Adam and Mark deliver fantastic performances. But regardless of all the reasons I could list for liking this scene, the fact is the Jedi are not pacifists, and Yoda's lesson has been misinterpreted. Because as admirable as passive resistance is, it only worked in the civil rights movement because the government wasn't evil enough to gun them all down there on the spot. Pacifism did not win this fight, they won by swaying public opinion. Pacifism would not have defeated Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini. Refusing to fight would have just made the Emperor laugh. Imagine if Rey had told Snoke, "A true Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack." As noble as it is to say turn the other cheek when a bully hits you, a truly evil bully who is intent on hurting you can only be stopped by force. Did the good guys in Harry Potter just throw up protective charms and hope that Voldemort would give up and go away? No, they took action and fought. In Lord of the Rings, did they passively wait or aggressively attack? Did they practice non-violent protest in The Matrix? Steve Rogers is one of the most noble, kind-hearted action heroes ever written, but does he have any qualms about killing the bad guys? The good guys rarely shy away from fighting evil because that is their purpose. Yes, they are a shield to hide behind. Yes, they can sometimes take a pacifist stance and win, but their entire purpose is to fight. Obi-Wan and Yoda weren't choosing a life of nonviolence. They ran away and hid because they only had one chance to defeat this evil, and they failed.
Into exile, I must go. Failed, I have.
They weren't choosing to be hermits. They had a literal army hunting them, and they needed to hide so they could survive and possibly train another generation of Jedi that could defeat Sidious. This was an example of a true Jedi listening to the will of the Force, not seeking revenge or running away in shame from their mistakes. Now, a gut reaction is to make the same argument for Luke and Rey, that he wasn't capable of defeating Snoke and Kylo on his own, so he needed to hide and wait for Rey, so he could train a generation of Jedi capable of beating them. The problem is that Yoda and Obi-Wan ran away when it was 2 Jedi against a galactic army led by a Sith Grand Master who could at least equal Yoda in a fight. Whereas Luke ran away when he had the entire army of the New Republic on his side against only a young half-trained Padawan and a single Sith hiding way off in the Outer Rim. While Yoda and Obi were in hiding, the Resistance grew and the good guys gained momentum. While Luke was hiding, the First Order grew and the good guys lost everything. No matter how you look at it, this version of Luke isn't a true Jedi, either by the old definition of brave warrior peacekeeper, or the new definition of violent savior. But you know what? Remember what I said in this video. This franchise has become enormous, and with variety comes variation from the original. We have reached a point where fans are each going to cherry pick which parts of the franchise they want to acknowledge as their own personal canon. So if people want to invent reasons to like this scene, let them. If they want to pretend that all Jedi are pacifists, yeah, they're wrong, but hey, that belief isn't hurting the rest of us. Remember why you are here, why you became a fan. People's enjoyment of the sequel trilogy doesn't diminish our enjoyment of the rest of the franchise. And remember how amazing the next saga could potentially be. What if the next saga is written by Timothy Zahn and directed and produced by Steven Spielberg? The Skywalker saga may have ended in disappointment, but the franchise still has unlimited potential for greatness.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
Thanks for watching, my friends, and a special thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and I'll see you guys next time.